may be a tad late for International Women's Day, but it's still International Women's Month, and here are some of my favorite feminist films from across the globe. I highly recommend you watch or look into Filipino director Marilou Diaz-abaya's thematic trilogy centered around women. My favorite is Moral, which is about 4 friends who explore their identities as women, daughters, wives, and mothers. It's women falling in and out of love, discussing women's issues, and having fun. The next 2 explore the darker sides of womanhood. Brutal is a film that I won't subject myself into watching again despite how good it is, much like Grave of the Fireflies, because it follows this female journalist who wants to understand why a woman who seems like she couldn't hurt a fly killed her husband and his friends. It explores the competition within female dynamics bred by the patriarchy. It's a cathartic female rage story, but equally heartbreaking when you realize how real it is or could be. A trigger warning for anyone who wants to watch it, it discusses rape. Carnal is equally dark and explores the reality that womanhood could be hellish because of the violence experienced by women at the hands of men. The story is set in the 1930s about a newlywed couple that moves to the man's hometown, only to realize that they were better off in the city. It explores how women are seen as properties and explores themes of patricide, incest, and especially violence against women. In a world that praises women for our discretion and repression, Vera Chytilova's Czech film Daisies follows Maria 1 and 2, who decide to be indulgent and live life on their own terms in war-torn Czechoslovakia. It's a social commentary on the patriarchy's view of what a woman is, shallow, airheaded gold diggers, by exaggerating them. My favorite part is when the film shows the dismemberment of the 2 Maries, which is often done to women in real life, literally and figuratively. For most of my life, young girls are taught to be polite and demure, while young boys are expected to be anarchic and messy, and this film was just a fun, beautifully observed form of catharsis for me. I discovered Cheryl Dunye's film The Watermelon Woman because of this snippet on YouTube of a customer flirting with Cheryl, and I was kicking my feet, twirling my hair, giggling. Cheryl is played by the writer and director Dunye, who works at a video store and makes a documentary after discovering a black actress in an old Hollywood film only credited as The Watermelon Woman. Through her research, she discovers the woman's name is Faye Richards, who is also a lesbian. It's a beautiful film that explores the intersections of race, gender, sexuality, and queerness. It's profound and seeks an answer to why so many black actors in old Hollywood were dehumanized and uncredited for their work, but it never feels fetishistic or preachy. It's real and funny and honestly deserves the praise that it's given. When I read Kim Ji-young, born 1982, I cried so much, and as a K-drama fan, I was just awoken from my sweet, sweet slumber and realized that there really is no haven of a country for women in this world despite what the media tries to paint. The film adaptation follows Kim Ji-young as a mother suffering from postpartum depression, ruminating on her past as a happy and thriving career woman. The film explores the woes of being born a woman in a place where men literally burned and cut up photos of a female idol for reading this feminist book. It discusses workplace discrimination and the misogynistic values that run deep within Korean society, as well as the mental health struggles of women and mothers, especially as they lose their agency, dignity, and purpose. Señorita María, La Falda de la Montaña is one of those films that makes you ache. The documentary follows Maria Luisa, who chose the name at age 18 and is now in her 40s living in a small Catholic village in Colombia. It's so simple and human in its portrayal of its subject, and despite Maria Luisa's struggles with discrimination as a trans woman, she is able to lead a life where she feels free to be herself, gets to share meals with her neighbors, and is able to work with dignity. Despite her religion's views on transhood and queerness, she remains faithful and full of love and steadfast in her belief in the Virgen de la Estrella. It's a beautiful film with a beautiful character who is secure in herself and her womanhood, despite what the world may think of her. I love Varda's documentaries, but I think that this is my favorite feminist film of hers. One Sings, the Other Doesn't is about the friendship between Pauline and Suzanne. The former sacrifices her education to help Suzanne, who already has 2 children, get an abortion. Pauline becomes a folk feminist singer named Pom, and Suzanne becomes a self-taught typist and opens a family planning clinic. And through the years, the 2 women keep in touch and help each other out. It explores women's rights, especially to abortion and female solidarity. Moufida Tlatli's The Silences of the Palace is an intersectional feminist film that follows an adult Aliyah who is now a singer but grew up in a princess palace where her mother was a slave. Despite living in a beautiful house, her memories are muddled with the violence inflicted on women. In war and colonialism, it is often women and children who suffer the most. Only music heard through the radio gave Aliyah hope and an understanding of the movements taking shape outside the bay's regal walls. The women's struggle for independence inside the palace parallels the Tunisian struggle for independence under the French protectorate. And lastly, while Coppola's Divergent Suicides may not necessarily be a feminist film in the strictest sense, it does explore themes of female repression and objectification. The film follows a group of boys who are obsessed with the Lisbon sisters, who are guarded and mostly keep to themselves through their Christian upbringing in 70s American suburbia. This is their appeal to the boys who deified them for their purity. Despite the bright pastel aesthetic of the film, it deals with dark themes of girlhood. So these are the films that I love and recommend that you watch during International Women's Month. And I want to know what your guys' favorite films are. And I'm wishing you all a very happy International Women's Month because so many of my viewers, I think 85% of you guys are female according to my YouTube analytics, which just makes me very happy. And if you're from other countries, I would very much love to learn about your favorite films that center girlhood and womanhood and the issues that we face. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you for 3,000 subscribers. It's so surreal that there's 3,000 people subscribed to me. I'm very grateful, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.